There is one thing that I want to say. Rules of origin is one of the most difficult aspect of the trade agreement. Very difficult and very boring. Yes. And to be honest, it is the foundation of the trade rules. Because a trade agreement simply that me, you, and her, we have agreed among ourselves to sell goods among ourselves without paying duties among ourselves. So that you can import to me, I can sell to her, as long as we meet the rules that will make us know that this product is coming from among ourselves. So this is the real mechanics for implementing any free trade agreement. Without this, you can't. That is why you will not import a product from China and then send it to any African countries and you expect to benefit from the AfCFTA. No. The product must be from Africa, produced in Africa, processed in Africa. But there is one thing that perhaps she didn't tell you. This rule is supposed to help us do two things. One, promote industrialization of African products. Two, promote regional value chain. So if I, in a textile and garment industry, I produce cotton, transform it into yarn, that yarn can be bought by a Kenyan who will then cut it and make a shirt or a dress, and that shirt or a dress will benefit from the AfCFTA. That means Uganda and Kenya, and we can create what we call a regional value chain in the textile industry. So that one is to promote also intra-Africa trade, because the product that is coming from Uganda going to Kenya, although within the trade agreement it's called transfer, still it will improve on movements of goods among East African countries. So this is very important, the rules of origin. And it was deliberately done so that we promote industrialization and value addition of products that are produced within the African continent. You've understood me very well? Yes, that is it. You remove this, there is no CFTA. Completely. And it is very, very important. And they're deliberately done. Now, we have reached 92.3% rules agreed as per July this year. We are left with only two rules, two chapters that are still pending, of very interest to many countries. That is the rules on textile and garment, and then the rules on automobiles, that is motor vehicles. You know why? Textile and garment has the longest value chain, and it is a very transformative sector and employs the biggest in terms of the labor force. That's why every country is interested in it. Uganda, we have the cotton, we do the spinning, then we do the weaving, and then we do now, I think, the coloration, and then, but we still have limited lines of products coming from Nitil. How many of you know where Nitil is? There was a time when I was growing up, they used to call some part of a certain material called ginger. And khaki. And then there used to be what they call a motor shirt. Those of you know, white. The Koreans like it so much. So those are coming from ginger. At the moment, they're concentrating so much on bed sheets, uniforms, both for the soldiers, police, prisons, schools, and all that. So that is still, the product line is still, I had a long discussion with them, is still limited. So that is textile. And we have one of the best cotton fibers in the world, by the way. The best at the moment, which is known as Egypt. But Egypt gets its soil from the upper part of the continent, which flows into the Mediterranean sea. So the kind of soil that produces that cotton fibers in Egypt is the same that actually produces the one of Uganda. But ours is actually better in terms of quality. So Egypt is one of the leading textile industry in Africa. There is Morocco, Egypt, South Africa, and Kenya is part of it. They have very vibrant textile and garment sector. We are still going there. Perhaps within the next 10 years from the discussion I had with those in the industry. They want now to move away from the cotton, from the limited, and increase the range of the products that will be coming from Nitil. Then the other one is the automobile sector. It's pending still because of the same interest. It's a transformative sector with huge potential for employment. Uganda, we have, I think, about 2 or 3. We have the Kira Motors. Then I think the Chinese also are doing assembling. But we also have other categories. That is chapter 89. So we have other automotive, like the border borders, I think some assembly also taking place. The motorcycles. Then for rolling, for disabilities and others, and the tuk-tuks and the rest. So ours is still a young sector. And you have heard about Kira Motors, the Kira buses. The government is still building it. It is somewhere around there. So the buses are there. They call it Kayola. Yes. So that one also, from the assessment that was done, a motor vehicle has over 4,500 parts. 4,500 parts to 5,000 parts, pieces that go into making a vehicle. And the strategy is that each and every African country must benefit from that auto industry. The Pan-African auto strategy, which is being developed. So as Uganda, we are still in a discussion, what are the key areas that we can strategize and focus on? We have leather. Why can't we focus on those aspects of the motor vehicle that require leather and leather transformation? Can be the seats, can be there are many aspects in the vehicle that are leather. Lesotho is simply doing vehicle seats right now, nothing more, and export it to South Africa. Pardon? Congo is doing battery. We are also having some batteries here. Others are just only doing filters. Others will do only the tires. West Africa, where rubber is. Only the tires. or we can simply just do the servicing. Uganda has, by the way, the best car repair services, but it is informal, which needs to be transformed over time. All right? The others will be doing glasses, the glass part only. Others will be just doing only just the dashboard. Others will only do the light, and they stop there. Others will say, no, we are only taking the stereo section. So you see, so what happens is that there should be an assembly point or points where all these products eventually are accumulated and a vehicle is assembled and then it runs off the assembly line. But the parts should be coming from different places. The problem is simply one. A multi-dimensional assembly line like that requires what they call just-in-time logistics. Our infrastructure is not yet there in terms of connectivity within the continent. So the rails, the roads, and other related aspects of the trade logistics have to be sorted out in order for us to be able to have that system. And the same applies to a plane. A plane, the parts come from different places and then assembled at one point. So the automobile industry, it's a very lucrative one. And Africa, we import, according to the studies, 500 units of different types of automobiles a year. It's huge, all right? But the challenges are there in terms of the second-hand vehicles that we are used to and other related problems. So that rule have not yet been concluded, but also it is only being discussed at the ministerial level, being assisted by what they call a task force, the AfCFTA, Pan-African Auto Task Force, that is developing the strategy. So those are the two rules that are remaining. Once they're disposed of, hopefully between 23rd to 25th of this month, when the Council of Ministers meet, hopefully they would be able to conclude.